What is commercial pest control to a lot of people? As I sit here in a parking lot looking at all these businesses, there's Qdoba down there, Penn Station, Great Clips. You know, I'm just sitting here looking at all these McAllisters, you know, at all these different shops in this shopping center here. And I wanted to talk about what commercial pest control is to each of these. So commercial pest control can mean many, many different things. You know, as I look at this commercial parking lot here and in this shopping center, you have everything that ranges from like a pet food store, pet food supply store, to just general retail shopping, haircut places, beauty places, clothing stores. And pest control can mean different things to each different store, and it really needs to be tailored to each specific store because they're going to have different issues. Also, just because they have pest control doesn't mean they're dirty or doesn't mean that they have a problem. The vast majority of pest control, particularly when it pertains to commercial pest control, is preventative. And that's so when you, the customer, go into these establishments to shop, you know, you're not looking down and finding rodent droppings everywhere. You're not finding piles of ants everywhere, or cockroaches, or various other insects, rodents that could obviously cause you to have a negative experience at that establishment. And so to build on that, you know, we do a lot of pest control, whether it's monthly, whether it's quarterly, whether it's biannually, like spring, fall, maybe an establishment, it's an office setting. Think of like investment, tax, just general office space. Maybe they just have some ants in the spring, and so we address that in the spring, and then they might get some spider or stinging insect throughout the year, throughout the season, and so we'll do it in like spring, kind of late summer, and we kind of tailor that to fit them. You know, an establishment, you know, right behind me, like a food handling establishment, really needs a monthly, because they're going to be intaking so much product, whether that's, you know, fresh foods, vegetables, bread, just a bunch of, you know, syrups, boxes, packaging boxes to just for like delivery or packaging the food. And so they're going to be intaking many, many products that could be possible transportation vectors for things like roaches, ants, mice, anything unwanted. And so food handling establishments really need that monthly service, that ongoing month-to-month pest control where, you know, like a food handling, you can go in and you can have rodent stations by any exits in the back. So when those service doors are open, you've got rodent stations there that are going to catch and or, you know, kill any type of mouse, rat, anything like that would possibly come inside and then obviously damage product, contaminate product. And then the other thing is you're going to be treating entryways, exits, bathrooms, piping areas, think underneath sinks, prep areas, for ants, spiders, cockroaches, anything that we don't want to end up on food or in food packaging. That's where pest control is going to come in to prevent that. And that's where you would want an ongoing maintenance program, like a 30-day or a monthly program for food handling establishments, because you really want a technician there on a month-to-month basis so that they can see what's going on. You're also going to have things like fly lights. So anytime you go into any type of fast food chain or any food handling establishment, a lot of times you'll see these sconces or lights, and they'll have like a blue color to them, a blue hue. Well, that ultraviolet color is specifically for flying insects to help draw them in, but those are flying insect traps, so fly light traps. So a lot of times they're going to have that blue light. They're going to have a glue board underneath or numerous glue boards, so when the insect flies in there, fly, you know, whatever type, it's going to fly in there, get stuck on that, and then will be stuck there to that glue trap, and then those just get replaced on a regular basis, whether that's monthly, quarterly, whatever. But in food handling, you know, that would be month to month. The fly zappers or anything like that, those are not okay to use in food handling establishments, because if you're zapping or killing something, then you can't control where that dead insect goes. And so the whole goal is to keep them in that nice confined space. So again, they're not getting any food handling product, packaging, etc. And then when it comes to like just a generic office space, haircut place, beauty salon, you know, like a Ross, a Walmart, anything like that, a lot of those places are just going to have kind of rodent around the possibly exterior of the building. So you're going to have rodent stations on the outside of that building, spaced ever so often, so that any type of mice, rats that are coming along the side of the building, you're taking care of them, you're intercepting them before they might get into some loading docks, storage docks, get in the back in a warehouse and damage or destroy product, let alone end up reproducing, and then they end up on the floor, show floor, and people are seeing them. And then, you know, a pet food place, you know, like a PetSmart or any type of pet food place, you know, they're bringing in a lot of dog food, a lot of product, cat food, just food in general for animals. And there's a big issue there where if you can have product that maybe gets infected with like Indian meal moths or any type of pantry pest, so you could have a litany of different types of beetles that can get into, even in your house, soups, crackers, just stored dry goods. Pet food runs that high of a risk as well, because a lot of times that pet food will sit in a storage warehouse for a bit, and then whether it was before packaging or during packaging or sitting in a warehouse, then it can end up on a shelf somewhere at a pet food store. And I'm sure many people have probably been places before where you'll see these moths kind of fluttering around, and whether it's an outdoor store or a farm store or a pet food store, and you're in the food aisle or around the food aisle, birdseed can have it happen as well. And you're seeing these moths, and most of the time those are Indian meal moths. And what has happened is there's been some product where they've gotten into that food source and they've eaten it and reproduced, and then you're seeing those beetles fly around, or those moths fly around. And again, that's very rarely is that because the establishment is bad or malicious in any way. A lot of times what happens is that product gets infected somewhere along the supply chain, ends up on a shelf, and when they hatch, then, you know, you'll see them fluttering around. But so that would be various reasons why many of these different establishments, not just food handling, not just retail, general retail, not just, you know, beauty places, haircut places, you know, they all kind of have specific reasons as to why they would have commercial pest control and ongoing pest control and preventative maintenance, and why it is important to have those. And so if you ever see a pest control technician at one of these places, it doesn't mean, oh my goodness, you know, they must be infested with XYZ bug. No, it's most of the time it is to prevent those infestations. It's to prevent that outbreak of something, or to prevent those insects, pests from being brought in. And so that's why commercial pest control really is a necessity. You know, I think we can all appreciate being able to buy clean product that doesn't have roaches, doesn't have Indian meal moths in the food. And so that's why a lot of these places have pest control, and that's why a lot of these laws are in place. That's why food handling establishments, you know, they need to have some sort of pest control. The Board of Health will require it. And so at a lot of these places we'll have log books. So we'll have just a little 3-ring binder log book that, you know, we can note and say, oh, service was provided at this date, notate any type of problems we may have had. Oh, there were ants by the front door, those were addressed. Or, you know, there was some mouse activity on the outside rodent station by the exterior door on the south side. You know, those things exist, and a lot of that is so we can have a clear idea of if there's been an ongoing infestation, ongoing problem, and or if there is an issue, it's addressed. So like when an inspection place, whether it's an independent auditor or you know, like a Board of Health comes in to inspect, you've got that pest log, and you can say, no, this establishment, here's the pest log. And so that's something, you know, we've always provided, and we take pride in providing that. And I know many pest control companies do, but yeah, just sitting here, taking a break, returning some phone calls, and just thought, you know, many people probably don't realize that your average commercial complex like this has ongoing pest control, and it's for a good reason. And so again, if you see a pest control truck coming out of a commercial establishment or business, I would say probably 9 times out of 10 does not necessarily mean, oh my goodness, I'm not going to shop there because they're dirty. No, it's probably because it's just an ongoing maintenance program to prevent those issues. So have a great day.